gotta do it. I'm all alone. So this is Batwoman, Season 1, Episode 1, the pilot episode, and, here we go. Oh, man, This was the show that I knew I was going to dread having to watch it. And sure enough, it's just as bad as I imagined it. Even, like, I was seeing mostly negative reviews, and I honestly thought it was going to be more positively reviewed because, I mean, I've seen all the positive hype around Supergirl because girl power. So I thought for sure, with Batwoman, gay girl power. Like, I really thought that was going to be the kind of the feeling around the show, but I've seen not great things about it. So much so that Ruby Rose, I know, has left the show by this point, and they're in season 3. So, if even kind of the mainstream doesn't like it, when normally the mainstream is very progressive, that tells you just how bad it's going to be. Because if that part of the show can't even win people over, which I'm sure there are probably some people out there like, oh, representation is great. But the problem is, if that's all your show has, it's not going to last very long. Because, first of all, you're only going to get a select group of people that enjoy watching nothing but that. And on top of that, even for those people, if you're not doing anything to entertain, they're not really going to jump at the chance to keep watching your show. The only reason I'm watching it is because I know it connects with the Arrowverse as a whole. I know that it connects directly with the crisis on Earth X or Infinite Earths or whatever is going to happen this season. The big crisis thing that I'm honestly am looking forward to because I've heard a lot of stuff, but I've managed to stay mostly spoiler free. Like, I do know certain things about the crisis and I know certain characters that show up. But I'm excited for it. But then I remember that Batwoman is now technically a part of that. And just from that little bit we got from last season on the, what's it called? Elseworlds, I think was the name of it. Pretty sure. Yeah, I don't know, just didn't really grip me, didn't get me excited to watch the show, and this first episode is sure enough more of the same. So first of all, let's talk about Ruby Rose as Batwoman. Two problems I still have that I had before in Elseworlds with her. First of all, the acting. It's just not great. And I'm not saying anything about her as an actress. I'm sure she's been great in other things. I know people love her as an actress. For me personally, watching her as Kate Kane, she's very one note. I very rarely see her outside of scowl. Like, even when she's smiling, there's a bit of a scowl hidden in the smile. And that's kind of most of her performance. And she's very, I don't know, when she delivers her lines, they're very just one note. Like, there's not a whole lot of inflection in the voice, and even honestly, her narration voice is kind of the voice that I hear throughout the entire episode. And that's not good, because whenever you're narrating, yeah, your voice is going to be a little monotone, it's not going to inflect a whole lot, but it's because you're telling a story, you're narrating something, so you're not really going to inflect a whole lot. But that's how she sounds even when she's acting. So that's kind of a problem, and it just, maybe it gets better, but from these first few glimpses that I've seen of her from Elseworlds and now this first episode, that's kind of all she's got so far. The other thing, and I'm not saying that, smaller people can't be badass, because we've seen smaller people be a badass before. But for her, one thing that I thought in Elseworlds, and I still think the same thing here, she's too small. She's too skinny. She doesn't look like she really has muscle. So to see her go into these fights after she's supposedly been training all this time and building all this muscle, I don't see any of that muscle. So when she hits something, it doesn't look convincing that it's going to be a powerful hit. There are certain, like, I think about some of the females on Arrow. You think about, like, what is her name? Kate Cassidy? Is that it? I've forgotten the actress's name. But you think about, Laurel and Sarah. That's it, right? God, it's been so long, I've honestly forgotten some of their names. But you think about those two, they looked like they had a bit of muscle for them. So even though they're not necessarily like ripped, they're not, Oliver Queen 8-pack abs and huge muscles on the arms. They still look like when they hit something, it looks convincing that there's some weight behind it. For her, when she swings, her arms just look kind of small, so they don't look like they like mine. Like honestly, do I look like I could do any damage with these things? Not really, because they're small. There's not a whole lot of muscle here. So it just doesn't really look convincing in the fight scenes. And I'll just say it, her in the bat suit really looks awkward. And I maybe it'll get better. I know she gets like her own bat suit, so maybe at that point it'll look a little bit better. But I don't know, just something about the look of the mask for her just doesn't really work. So I don't know. I'm not convinced when I see her as Batwoman. I'm not convinced that she's Batwoman. I'm not convinced she can handle her own in a fight. And honestly, for this first fight, really didn't look like she could handle her own. I mean, she got thrown around a lot and narrowly escaped and saved Sophie's life. So it's just not a great start for me as far as she's concerned. As far as the side characters, I don't kind of on the fence about them right now. She's got her stepsister Mary that seems, I don't know. At first she was like, oh, she's the super popular, like, oh, all about social media, taking pictures, I'm so cool. And then all of a sudden she's running this clinic, like this underground clinic for people that I guess she's not supposed to be doing. Just like, okay, this came out of nowhere. So it's a very random plot line, and I don't know where that's going to go for this season, but I guess maybe she's going to help her at some point. And then her, Kate's stepmom and dad, they're both just kind of eh. Her dad's also very one note in his delivery. Like I didn't hear a whole lot of inflection in his voice, and the stepmom didn't really see much of her. Kind of wonder if they're gonna turn her into a bad guy just because of the way that they focused on her seeing the story about Batman and like folding it up with, I don't know, just kind of a neutral expression. I don't know if she was supposed to look pissed or whatnot, but couldn't really read that. But just the way they set it up, it kind of made me feel like I've seen this before where, oh, so-and-so picks up the paper, sees something that they don't like, and folds it in frustration because, oh no, Batman is supposedly back. And I don't know why that would be a problem for her, but she seemed to be one of the ones pushing for them to turn off the bat signal, so I don't exactly know why. But the other thing to talk about as far as characters is concerned is Beth Alice, this villain. Yeah, so kind of early in the game to be throwing in this plot twist that her sister apparently survived the car falling off the bridge, which I do find it kind of hilarious how I don't know how much the show seems to hate Batman. Just from the first episode, like first of all, they show him not saving his own family, ironic, and then after that, like he just runs away for 3 years, and Bruce Wayne is supposedly looked down upon. Like her dad, at the beginning of this episode, was like, "You're just like the female Bruce Wayne, except unlike him, you have a chance to do something with your life." I'm like, "Yeah, running Wayne Enterprises, I could do that. I have no business capabilities whatsoever. I could run Wayne Enterprises like that." Just like, what? Is he just saying that because he ran away? Like he's been gone for 3 years? Is that the point he's trying to make? I don't know, just the hate that Batman gets in the show. And I guess maybe it's because I'm just assuming they're probably going to be pushing a lot of liberal propaganda, and the whole idea of women are better than men is something that gets pushed a lot. And I mean, already I've seen a couple of instances like that line, and then later on whenever she looks at the batsuit and she's like, "I'm gonna need you to fix it," and then Luke Fox, who I guess is gonna be Lucius's son maybe, but he's just, it's already perfect. It would be more perfect if it fit a woman. I'm just like, what? What line is that? What kind of writing is that? Oh man. So, but yeah, Beth survives apparently. She becomes this Alice, who, I'm not gonna lie, not a fan, just because I've seen the Mad Hatter portrayed very well and kind of crazy and insane, so having Alice, who supposedly I guess is the female counterpart to the Mad Hatter, should be very crazy. But the girl playing her isn't exactly showing crazy very well. She's just saying crazy things, but she doesn't actually look crazy. There's this look in your eye whenever you're crazy. And you can just tell by looking at them, there's just that gleam in their eye whenever they're insane. She didn't capture that, really. So it felt like somebody trying to seem crazy, but not really pulling it off. Not to mention the fact that she set up this whole thing where it's like, oh, Sophie's on the building, and there's bombs down there. Pick one, and then all of a sudden, Kate shows up, saves Sophie, and then the cops go and find Sophie, like, hey, are you okay? And then we never hear about what happened with the bomb. We just ignoring that now? Bombs in a truck nearby a bunch of people, which also there's apparently a cop that betrayed everyone because I guess he's in love with Alice somehow. I don't know if she does mind manipulation like the Mad Hatter does. But yeah, he gets one moment of screen time whenever he shows up and then kisses Alice just so we know, oh, they're in league together. And then he leaves the truck filled with bombs around a bunch of people. We never see him again. Kate's dad opens the back of the truck, sees the bombs. We never see the bomb again. She seemed like she armed the bombs. What are we doing? We just ignoring all of that, get cut in post, and we're just not going back to it? Alrighty then. So yeah, there's a lot in this. I'm just like, wow, they did not write this well. There's another line. He's like, why are you doing this? And then she quotes, I guess it was a riddle from the Mad Hatter. It's like, why is a raven like a writing desk? I'm just like, huh? What is that supposed to be like? Oh, I'm crazy. Oh, I'm just like, what? But yeah, so that's about all from this episode. Obviously, there's the whole romance between Kate and Sophie, which apparently she went and married a guy. Just like, okay, so they're probably going to be doing this thing all season because CW is always about soap opera first, superheroing later in all of these shows. So I'm assuming we're going to get a lot of time devoted to, are Kate and Sophie going to work out? Oh, the city's being attacked. We can get to that later. But Sophie, can't you see that she loves you? I'm like kind of up in the air because on the one hand, the show's going to be bad. But on the other hand, it's been a long time since I've had a chance to really review something this bad. I mean, I'm going to be getting to Supergirl next, so after I'm done with these 3 episodes. But anyways, okay. Let's do this. Episode 2. See you in a sec. Now episode 2, The Rabbit Hole. It's not getting any better. Oh, God. Yeah, this is going to be painful, but don't have a whole lot of time, so let's just crack on through the things that I wanted to talk about. First of all, the very cliche story that they're doing doesn't make a whole lot of sense here. So I've seen this before where somebody has information, in this case it's Kate, knowing that Beth is still alive and she's now Alice and she's crazy and she's taking on the whole city and blah blah blah, all of this stuff, and she blames her father for not looking for her, whatever. So she knows this, but the father is so blinded by, no, it can't be her, I know she's dead, and he's just so convinced himself that she's dead that he won't see any sort of clues toward her still being alive. What doesn't make sense about it here, though, is if you really think about it, they found skull fragments of Beth's. So, yeah, at the time, I could see him going, oh, that means she's probably dead. But now, all of a sudden, supposedly she's back and crazy. That lines up with finding skull fragments. That means something got knocked loose in the fall. And now that's why she's crazy. It makes sense. It's not like, I don't know, it's not like she just ran away one night and then all of a sudden she comes back and she's crazy Alice. Like, if that happened, I could see you being a little bit more in denial. Like, no, my baby girl couldn't become that. But you found skull fragments of hers. So that means she could be crazy now. So, yeah, that's dumb that he's acting this way. And of course he's oh, I'm the angry, overseeing authority figure, and I don't believe anything you're saying, so I'm just gonna say no. I'm saying I doubt you, and I'm gonna put down all of your ideas from here on out. So that's fun. But I guess they have to form some sort of rift between Kate and her father, or else they wouldn't have a storyline for them this season, which because that was the weird thing about it. I forgot to talk about this, but in the first episode, it seemed like there was a rift there, but by the end of it, they actually kind of made up, because the father basically told her the reason he sent her away and didn't want her to be involved in all this stuff is because he had already lost his wife and Beth. He didn't want to lose her too, so that's why he kept her away from everything, which makes a lot of sense. They seem to be hinting that maybe he didn't like her, he blamed her for stuff, and that's why he did all of this, but no, it's actually he loves his daughter still, and he wanted to keep her safe, so that's why, even though she wanted to do all this dangerous stuff, he didn't want that for her. So it makes sense, and it was actually a really sweet moment between the two. But that, of course, is not the end of the story, because then there would be no story. So yeah, they throw in this bullcrap plot line, and it's stupid. On top of that, apparently the stepmom is involved, and I mean, like I said, at the end of the last episode, it seemed like, oh, Batman, close the paper in frustration with a blank look on your face. I'm angry. Can you tell? So, yeah, she's involved. Apparently, she's the one that sent these guys in the mask to retrieve the knife for some reason. I guess maybe she somehow knows Beth is still alive and doesn't want her husband to find out because reasons. So she's evil somehow, so that's fun. Because, yeah, I've never seen a step-parent be evil before and try to hide it. Certainly not a cliche storyline, right? So, yeah, I don't know what to expect from that, and I don't really care. Alice, still not very interesting to me. Again, she comes off as trying to be crazy, but she doesn't really seem like it. She seems like she's trying to play a crazy character. You look at, honestly, I'm going to compare this to a better show. You look at Gotham. A lot of the actors on Gotham, they feel like they are those characters. You look at Oswald Cobblepot. You don't see an actor playing Oswald Cobblepot, really? Oswald Cobblepot. You don't see an actor. You see the Penguin. You don't see an actor playing Jerome. You see a young Joker. They fit those parts so well. I've talked about this before, but Jada Pinkett Smith, I felt like she didn't really fit in that part. It always seemed like she was playing a character and she was pretending to be, ooh, I am so crazy. Like it felt weird. It felt off. Same thing here with Alice. It feels like she's playing a part. Like she'll just be talking all low. Then suddenly she's really loud and crazy. And, ooh, I'm crazy. And it sounds like what you would do if you wanted to convince people you were crazy, but you're not really. That's just how I'm seeing it right now. And maybe I'm alone in that, but for me, she's not very convincing with it. And it's just, whether it's the directing or whether it's her acting, one of the two is just not really sitting right. So any of her scenes, I'm always just kind of like, ooh, you're crazy. Oh no, you screamed and banged the table really loud out of nowhere. Oh, I'm scared. It's just not that intimidating. On top of that, apparently Dodgson is also a little crazy as well. Or crazy. Because the whole scene where he attacks... I'm pretty sure that was Dodgson. I think it was. But where he attacks... whatever her name is. Is it Maya? I don't think it's Maya. It might be Maya. I don't know. But Kate's stepsister, he goes to attack her and he just... I don't know. He shows up and all like, ooh, I'm going to stand behind her menacingly, and then I'm going to swipe at her with a knife, and then I'm going to have my hands around her throat instead of just stabbing her with the knife I just had, which gives her a chance to, of course, counterattack. And then I'm going to not just pull the knife out of my leg, I'm going to rah! Scream as I pull the knife out of my leg, and then I'm going to grab the axe, and there we go. Drag it along the floor, slice the door open, and if not for Batgirl showing up, I honestly expected him to, here's Dodgson! Like, it was so goofy and weird. I'm just like, wait, he's crazy now? Out of nowhere? So yeah, I don't know. It feels like they're just writing these characters as like, ooh, they're crazy, so we're gonna have them do crazy things. or you could just have them do effective things like kill their targets instead of, drawing it out for the suspense of it, I guess. I don't know. It's very bad. It's very, very bad. So yeah, by the end of it, I mean, I don't know what to expect. I guess we're going to start focusing a little bit more on Alice. She figures out Kate is, dressed in the Batman costume, and yeah, I don't know. Nothing really else to talk about. Everything else was just kind of bland, not all that interesting. Even the Kate and Sophie stuff, like I expected to hate that a lot more, but honestly, at this point, I'm just kind of like, it's just kind of boring. Like I've seen this all done before, where one likes the other, but the other is with somebody else, and they clash heads at times. Which honestly, I don't like. At the end of this episode, I don't really understand Kate. All of a sudden, like, are you really happy? Like she just betrayed you, and you're suddenly like trying to get back with her. All of a sudden, it seems weird. So, yeah, it's just all kind of bad. So, that's all I have to say. On to the final of these 3 episodes. See you there. Now, episode 3, Down, Down, Down. As my emotions toward the show go down, down, down. Yep. Continues to just not be good. Alice, still the same. Just pretending to be crazy, but definitely doesn't actually seem like she really is crazy. The weird thing about Alice at this point is, see, these were just 2 sisters, wouldn't think anything about it. But because Kate is a lesbian, there's a strange sexual energy between the 2 of them, which is very disturbing because, I mean, they're twins, so it's weird. You're very putting off some very strange sexual vibes towards your sister. It's not normal. If this were like a brother-sister combo, it would probably show off a lot more. But, yeah, it's weird. Let's not do this. I don't think that's actually what they're implying, but that's what it seems like based on like how like she touches her face. I'm just like, that's very like sensual. It's not a sister to sister touch. That's like a woman to her lover touch. Like it's weird. But no, like she's just, I don't really care about her story right now. She apparently is still gonna go kill people because she wants Kate to stop looking at her as Beth for some reason, which doesn't make any sense. Because whenever she was at the what's it called, the penthouse, and she found the map showing that clearly Kate was looking for, it looked like she got all emotional about it. So I'm like, so you do care, but then suddenly you don't care, and you're just like, oh no, I'm just gonna keep killing people. So you just need to forget that I'm Beth. And she really does move like somebody who, again, if I wanted to seem like I was crazy, if I wanted to like portray a crazy person, but obviously I'm not crazy myself, I would be doing things like this that she does all the time, like just the odd movements, the very ooh, I'm so crazy and tipsy and woo, like the vibe she's putting off is not crazy. It's, I want to be seen as crazy. Honestly, very Jared Leto Joker, the more I think about it. But it's a strange comparison, but it's something that just came to mind and it kind of makes sense. But no, the other part of this episode that really doesn't work is Tommy Elliott. They bring him in, which pretty sure he's Hush in the comics. He's the one that like makes himself look like Bruce Wayne and pretends to be him. Apparently he knows in this universe that Bruce Wayne is Batman because I guess the Riddler knows, and so he paid him to find out that he's Bruce Wayne. So I guess Bruce Wayne's identity is not nearly as secret in this universe as it is in other universes. So yeah, he figures it out and then steals a gun that can kill Batman and then tries to get Kate to bring Batman to him so he can kill him. Just not interesting. And Tommy himself is not really that interesting of a villain in this one. Apparently he had this whole party set up and he somehow knows who's going to be on which elevator. And so like he drops one full of a wait staff. Just like, okay. And then for some reason it doesn't lock the doors. Why? Why would you set this whole thing up to drop people in these elevators to kill them, which first of all, it doesn't actually kill all of them, so some people made it out okay. That's very odd. But you didn't lock the doors. And so Mary, which I called her Maya in the last one. It's Mary. So Mary, Sophie, and her husband get out of the elevator just fine and go down to help. Which, one thing I will say, Mary, the social media influencer, I want to smack her in the face. Mary the doctor, much more interesting. So hopefully we get more of Mary the doctor. I guess she's putting on this facade of being like, ooh, I'm all social media, ooh, so cool. Just so people don't suspect that she's running the secret clinic, I guess. But she's much more interesting as a doctor to me right now. Even then, she's not that interesting. But just more interesting than being all into herself and taking pictures. And I'm a social media influencer, just FYI. If that means anything, I'll leave you a bad review. I'm just like, shut up. You're so annoying. Sophie apparently not telling her husband that she used to be into girls for some reason, because we need a reason to split them up, right? And on top of that, Kate meets a girl, Regan, I don't remember how to pronounce it now, but the bartender, she just happens to flirt with her, and the girl just happens to be into other girls, and they hit it off just like that. And she's like, I'll call you later at the end of this episode. And of course, Sophie's watching because, ooh, she's so jealous now. I'm just like, this is God, dumb. So dumb. But like I said, it's what the CW cares about. It's soap opera first, and then the superhero stuff when we have time. If we have time. I'll throw out the if there, because sometimes we just don't have time to talk about, is the city going to blow up or some madman going to attack it? Because, I mean, let's be real. We're all here to see who's Kate going to get with. Is she going to get her love back, or is she going to go out with the bartender? We need to know this. Oh, God, it's giving me indigestion. Trying to remember what other stories. I mean, the father talking to Alice, he's starting to believe a bit more that she's Beth. I guess. I don't really know, honestly. It's hard to really tell what's going through his mind. And the mother also, again, I talked about that first episode where she closes the newspaper and she, I guess, was supposed to look angry or frustrated, and she didn't have real much emotion on her face. Well, she finds out that Alice was apparently in the loft, and it's supposed to be an angry, what? It comes out, what? Like, I don't know, the facial muscles in her face, just the facial muscles in her face. Good one, Mason. But her facial muscles just didn't really react correctly. And so it was supposed to come off angry, and instead it was like a delayed anger. Like, her face was angry after she said what. I don't know. It was a very odd reaction, but I guess she has some tie to Alice because Alice left her some sort of note, 283. I don't know if she's in league with Alice or if Alice is working against her, but I also don't know if I care enough to really think about it that much. There's also a very weird scene at the beginning where Alice was having a dream that she was in somebody's basement and suddenly a face, like somebody's actual face, like floated up. I'm just like, was she like locked in, what's his name? What is the name of Nick Cage's character from Face Off? Oh, it's escaping me now. I don't remember. I'm just like, is she locked in his... This is where the basement where they did this face swapping? Is that what's going on here? Nick Cage all of a sudden gonna show up and just, I want to take his face. Oh. That would be mind-blowing twist. If they did that, I would love the show, but they're not going to. So, here we are. But yeah, I don't know what that has to do with anything. Maybe it contributed to her going crazy. I think those are all the plot lines I can think of. I mean, she's officially Batwoman now, so at least we don't have to deal with her looking really goofy in the Batman suit. The Batwoman suit, yeah, it's still not good. She still doesn't look quite right in it, because again, she looks very small and tiny. So there is that, but the design of it at least looks better than her being in the Batman suit, because it just looked like, okay, you just basically took the Batman suit and washed it and dried it and shrunk it. That's really what it felt like, and it looked very weird and awkward. So at least this looks more like it's her suit, it's meant for her. so it looks more natural, I guess. So that the benefit there. But yeah, overall, I mean, for the first 3 episodes, it's not like I was expecting it to be good. But yeah, it's pretty bad and bland, and even the stuff that's not bad is not really good either. It's just kind of dull. It's there. It's a cliche most of the time because I've seen so many of these stories done before in other, not even in just in other shows. I've seen it done before in the CW Arrowverse. Like I've seen all of these stories done at one point or another. So it just feels like they have nothing new. So I don't really know why they're doing it. It. I know when they introduced her, they were probably like, "Oh, we're gonna do a Batwoman show, and we're gonna do some really cool and interesting stuff, and we're gonna bring some Batman lore in, but we're not gonna have Batman in it." Okay, so are you gonna do something cool and interesting and unique with it, or are you just gonna be like every other CW Arrowverse show, where essentially you're just gonna tell a bunch of stories about relationships and people mistrusting each other and people falling in love and breaking up and basically a high school drama, and then there's some superhero elements thrown in here and there so you can call yourself a superhero show. So yeah, not looking forward to it, but it is what it is. This is my lot in life because I told myself I wanted to watch all the Arrowverse shows, and unfortunately this is part of the Arrowverse, so woo. Anyways, that's it for me, so let me know what you guys think on these first 3 episodes. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Batwoman reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.